Hello, beautiful. It's Jo again, and I am back to talk about Fasting Life 2022, week 6. Now, this week, there was some stuff. And by that, I mean there was no stuff because I fasted for 5 solid days. It was 5 days and 13 hours. 133 hours fasted. It, however, was a dirty fast. What that means is I was still having coffee with creamer, 1 to 3 cups in the morning, depending on how much I felt like I needed that day. And it was powdered creamer, which is not ideal. The more research I do on powdered creamer, the more I'm going to have to steer away from that. I sure as heck didn't know that it was based on high fructose corn syrup. So it's not sweetened, and yet it's high fructose corn syrup. So that shouldn't be good for my blood sugar. But I stayed fasted and water only except for that. Now, what that means is here's how my week went. I survived last week's monthly challenge, and although I did eat that entire pint of orange sherbet, I'm gonna be honest, the whole thing went away. I wound up just under 2,200 calories for that day, which isn't great, but it could be worse. I did try to balance it out with more protein and veggies for actual dinner. I had steamed broccoli and cheese and cauliflower and some kielbasa sausages and a couple of scrambled eggs, and I tried to make it veggie and protein heavy to balance. So, The next day, though, I did not have any trouble getting right back on track with fasting. I had a great transition back onto alternate day fasting the next day. And then Sunday, the day after, when I normally would have been a food day, I had my morning coffee. Then I went down to the flea market and I was running the shop, and I just never got around to eating and wasn't really hungry, wasn't wishing for anything. By the time I finished up, I'm like, and I didn't. So I didn't. And basically, day by day, I was playing it by ear to see what I might want, if I might want. And it went from there. Besides the powdered creamer, which is why it's very much a dirty fast. Because I guarantee that had to have been spiking my blood sugar, because I have now found out that powdered creamer is made using high fructose corn syrup. Not ideal. But by the next day, I just was like, I was having such an easy time that I finally decided to just transition it into my first extended fast in months. I did weigh in on Monday at the 59-hour mark and was at 189.9 pounds. That means that in the last 30 days of 2.5, better part of 3 weeks of, was alternate day fasting, but for the entire 30-day period from January 7th to February 7th, I lost 13 pounds and 0.1. But anyway, 13 pounds lost in 30 days. Yay me. And it really helped make me feel pretty motivated. I do really appreciate being back below 190 now. So yeah, even though I still say 203 was not bad, because I screwed myself thoroughly last winter, and this year I did not, so it could have been so much worse. The next day, I was still feeling able to continue. I just chose to keep going. Now, Monday, which was day 3 of the fast, was my hard day. Normally, that day lands on the 4th day, but it was the day I felt just that almost headache going on, and the muscle fatigue, and the lethargy, and the brain cloud. And I toughed it out because the job I'm at now is more of an office job, and it's not as physically demanding. And while I had the brain cloud, I wasn't being 100% stupid. I was still able to function. I did go ahead and push through the hard day. The next day, that is the day I had 3 cups of coffee, when normally I would only have had 1 to 2. But I had 3 that day. So that was a lot of powdered creamer in my system. I did have some ibuprofen too. But I did go ahead and push through, and by day 4, I was feeling in the groove, in the zone, and 100% still. I was great. Day 4 felt wonderful. I was like, I have no specific ending date. I don't know when I'll go. I'll go till I don't feel well enough to go or don't want to go anymore. And in the end, I was doing more research, knowing how bad the creamer was being, and I cannot drink black coffee. Said this before. I'll never not say it. I've tried. It's gross. But I decided to try to get some heavy whipping cream and use that for my creamer. And I actually used that this morning. It was not awesome. It was not awesome. I started off trying to only use 1 teaspoon. 1 tablespoon is considered a serving. And I do like a whiter coffee. I can go without sugar if I got enough white in there. I wound up having to use the full tablespoon in the end, and it still did not taste great. I also was yesterday struggling with a indigestion-y burping issue. Now, I'm starting to blame this on the coffee. Not any coffee, but I had got some new donut shop K-Cups that I had not tried this one before, and I'm thinking that coffee may have been too acidic, because based on my research, a more acidic coffee can cause digestive distress and cause the burpiness and stuff. Because the other coffee I was doing did not do this to me, but I've had that same cup twice, and both times I went into burpee zone. And I don't think it's about the fasting. I think it was that coffee. I'm probably going to be not having any more of that K-Cup. Now, using the creamer in the coffee has a lot of negatives. If it keeps me in the fast, in mostly fasting, it's worth it. But it's probably enough protein in the creamers that I'm not hitting autophagy. The powdered one was definitely probably spiking my blood sugar. The heavy whipping cream may and very likely might not have spiked a blood sugar, and that was probably one of the safest ways to dirty fast without messing up everything. Even if it did spike my blood sugar, though, it's not such a huge spike that it wouldn't take nearly as long to go back down, the way I understand things. I may have come out of the fasting state, but I think I went back into the fasting state that much sooner still. And since I kept clean the whole rest of the day and all through the night until the next morning, it may have been interrupted, but it's not that bad. And it's better than not doing it at all, because there are just so many benefits to it, even if I didn't get as many of them as I ideally prefer at this point in a fast. I got through day 5. I did, with the indigestion issue, have to have a couple of the Pepto-Bismol tablets as well, trying to tame that, because I do not like to get burpy like that. Nobody does. I mean, I understand nobody likes to get burpy like that. But if I'm burping really bad, it makes me feel like I want to yak, and that's not a good way at all. Day 6, I did try the whipping cream, like I said. Wasn't a winner. I'm still going to try some other things. There's a couple other options out there I might can try. But I was feeling that lightheadedness, and I was feeling that lethargy. 133 hours. I broke officially with some bone broth. I was hoping that there'd be enough salt in the bone broth, and then I took some more salt, that I was hoping maybe I would start to feel better. Now the lightheadedness went away, but I still had enough muscle fatigue and weakness, and once your head checks out, it gets a lot harder. And so in the end, I decided that my pre-birthday fast of 5 days was enough, especially since it wasn't planned, plotted, and it had no specific end date. I will say in my heart, I really wanted to maybe get to 7 days or even 10, but it's fine. It's fine. I weighed in this morning on the last official morning before I broke the fast at 186 and a half or thereabouts. I am feeling good about what my body accepted and did. I feel like a lot of the bloating, I mean, I think I can see it through my face. Always for people, it's like they see it in my face first. I don't see it in my face first, but I believe I am starting to see the inflammation and the pudge die back. Um, so while the salt helped, it didn't help enough that I wanted to keep going. At lunchtime at 1 o'clock, I officially fully broke, which was another 4 to 5 hours after the soft break with the bone broth, because the bone broth is protein heavy with the collagen and all of that. So it definitely would mess up autophagy probably, but it isn't the worst thing. And much like the coffee, I could come down out of it. I hadn't committed to stopping with the bone broth. But by lunchtime, I'd made the commitment, and I'm like, it's time. It's time. I had another bone broth. I had a very nice ripe avocado and some pecans and some hard cheese and a little sandwich turkey and just a few things. I was actually very full after all of that, but that was going to be my entire meal. I wasn't going to do dinner after that or anything, so I wanted to make sure that that day's food and that lunch counted, because that's me breaking the fast fully. And then the what would have been day 7, which is where I really wanted to be, will be a normal food day before I start to transition back. Generally speaking, they do recommend on an extended fast to feed and refeed at least half the time that you fasted. So if you fast for 10 days, then you should eat for 5 days healthily and normally, but you should eat for 5 days before you go back into fasting. This was, I mean, I probably will start fasting again on Saturday and then phase back into my normal alternate day. I do think that will work for me, but we will see, because I have had it happen before that after the fast fades from my brain, I just get exceptionally hungry. But I was so very in the zone, and truly, I still sort of am. I'm not lost completely. I really would have liked to have gone on, but you have to listen to your body, and 5 days is still an accomplishment. This was to date my longest fast ever. 120 hours was the longest I've ever gone, and that was a lot of work. This went much better than that. I am going to call it a fasting success, and that is really the bulk of my week. I did not eat food to speak of. I had terrible coffee, and I dirty fasted, and I worked. That is my day. Now, I hope you have a wonderful week. I hope you have a successful fasting day. If you have any questions, please do like, subscribe, comment, hit that notification bell, do all the things, and I will catch you on the flip side.